There's two kinds of sharp. There's sharp and there's scary sharp. This knife is scary sharp. I have been sharpening knives like this by hand for probably 15 years. I use Japanese water stones and I use them on Japanese knives, no doubt about it, but hunting knives, kitchen knives, anything. I started sharpening knives for lots of very practical reasons. But the reason I continue to sharpen knives, if I'm honest with you, is because there's something that happens when I'm down in this room, whether I'm sharpening knives or building pedals, right? Or fixing guitars, whatever it is that I do here, is that if I'm here long enough, all the chatter in my brain kind of goes away. There's nothing wrong with the chatter in our brains that's telling us do this, do this. That's all really good, but sometimes those things can become overwhelming. Certainly during times like this, those voices in our head, I mean, as important as they are, can become oppressive. They can push us down. And one of the things that happens when I'm in this room, when I'm kind of doing something like sharpening a knife, say, or, I don't know, anything else, is that, at first when I'm doing it, my brain is chattering away like my brain always chatters. And I'm sitting here going, gosh, I should be doing something, whatever. And I have all of these. But then at some point, all that kind of goes away, and it happens somewhat accidentally. I don't even realize it's happening. I think you've gone through this too, where I'm so concentrated on what it is I'm doing, because you have to listen to the sound that the knife makes on the stone. And you have to pay attention to the marks that are happening. It's giving you information all the time. And something like peace kind of overwhelms me. I can be down here for an hour and a half and not even realize I've been down here. I'm thinking, well, I've been 15 minutes and an hour goes by. And the practice of meditation is the practice where we kind of clean our minds for a time of all of that noise. Maybe that's the difference between meditation and prayer. Prayer is maybe the ways that we talk to God or the universe or however you wrap your head around all that, right? Meditation, I think, is a practice that brings us to a place where we can listen to God. It involves activity, it involves a work. In a way, the ancient monastic tradition in Christianity has always connected spirituality and the spiritual life with work. It's called ora et labora. We could talk about that later at another time. But I suspect that for many of us, what we need right now more than anything else is just for our brains to kind of give us a break. Maybe to find room for us to listen to God. What I'd like to do is simply remind you that they don't have to have some sort of special spiritual life or technique in order to clear your mind, in order to meditate. I suspect that a lot of you do that all the time. Maybe you're not sharpening knives. I mean, I don't know what you do. Maybe you garden, maybe you run, who knows? Maybe it's in the work that you do. Maybe when you do whatever it is your job is, maybe that also allows you to find a meditative space. Right? For me, it's sharpening these knives. For me, it's getting lost in circuits when I'm building guitar pedals, or getting lost in truss rod adjustments on necks of guitars. Something happens though, where I kind of find what maybe people call a flow. What I would invite you to do is think of those practices that you have in your own life, and I hope you have them. You maybe think of them as hobbies or chores or whatever, but those things that you do where, after about 15 minutes or so, you just kind of start to lose yourself. You find a kind of like a flow. Those things that you do where you look up after an hour and a half and realize, oh my gosh, it's an hour and a half. You thought it was 15, 20 minutes. Those things are medicine for you right now. And I would encourage you to focus as much time as you can on those tasks as your first steps in the life of a meditative practice. Sharpening a knife, if done with intentionality, right? If done with mindfulness, if done in the spirit of the moment, can be every bit as spiritual as anything else. So find that thing for yourself. Ask yourself over the next couple days, what is the meditative practice that you already have that you didn't even know it was meditation? And next time we come together, I will provide you with some of the ancient practices of the church that you can build on the meditation you already have to find the peace that God has always promised you. For now, it's enough to just simply look at your daily life and find those places where you find flow or where you find those moments where the chattering stops. And then do those things as much as you can. And for now, consider that your meditation. We'll see you soon.